What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Professor M, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, everyone, I am here to bring you all my RWBY Volume 4 Episode 2 review. That is right. And I did end up doing a live reaction for this, so no need to worry about that. The live reaction will be up this coming Saturday. Hopefully I can actually get this video up to all of you. So technically, when it comes to this, or it comes to these RWBY Volume 4 videos, you will see my reviews first before you end up seeing the live reactions, just due to Rooster Teeth's guidelines and when they prefer reactors end up uploading the episodes. So just letting everyone know on that, no need to worry about the live reaction because it is done. I just have to wait until, you know, I can upload the video and when Rooster Teeth said so, and then obviously you guys will see my reaction to the episode. But in today's video, we are going to be talking about RWBY Volume 4 Episode 2. This will be a review, and I will try my very best to not go too long in this review. I know in the last video I went over like about 45 minutes long, but hopefully I can keep this relatively short, but I am still going to abide to analyzing pretty much everything in the episode, so keep that in mind. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's get this started. So we open up this episode with Weiss, and Weiss looks as elegant as ever, and we also get like a little tour of her home, and I gotta say, jeez, once she inherits, you know, this place, you know, inherits the money, I mean, she's getting her, you know, little allowance here and there from her father, but once she inherits this place, dang. Well, actually, she wouldn't be technically the one to inherit the place because Winter, I think, is the oldest out of the group, I'm pretty sure. But we end up getting to see another family member from Weiss's family tree, and that is actually her brother. Now, this actually took me off for a little bit because I was like, whoa, what, her brother. We never got any hints at a brother, at least not that I recall. I mean, we've seen in Volume 3 that she had a sister. And it was also hinted at other volumes too that, you know, Weiss had a sister as well. We just never saw her until Volume 3. But we never actually got word on her brother, I believe. But it was kind of interesting to see him. I think his name was Whitleyan. I think that is his name. And I'm going to say this right now. His demeanor comes off as fake. It really does. His demeanor definitely comes off as fake, and even Weiss suspects this, you know. She even says, you know what, don't you hate Winter? And he's like, I sort of do, but you can't deny her resolve, sort of thing. And he's basically saying that he's changed a little bit for the better to Weiss, but I'm going to say right now, I really have some weird vibes coming from this guy. Like, I don't know, I'm keeping my eye on Weiss's brother because just, it seems like something might go underneath the shadows with this character. I don't really know what he could possibly be up to, but he definitely does seem suspicious right off the bat. At least I get some suspicious vibes from this individual. I mean, I don't know about you guys if you get any suspicious vibes from Weiss's brother, but in my personal opinion, like, I'm just keeping my eyes on him because there does something seem to be a little off about this character. So, yeah. But now we revert to the next transition in the episode, and that is when we see RWBY's team. We have Ruby, John, Nora, and Ren at the moment, and they end up coming across the town of SCHNEE, which is their next stop. And I believe it is the town of SCHNEE, unless this could have been another town, but I'm pretty sure this is the town of SCHNEE. And this town is completely decimated. Completely decimated indeed. And we see, you know, there's just smoke all over the town. There's dead bodies. We actually see blood in this episode, which is very surprising. Even the blood on the wounded soldier that was, you know, about to pass, you know, we saw blood on him, which was very surprising. We can definitely see that RWBY is definitely turning into a darker, you know, series as, you know, the series progresses. I mean, the only time that we really saw blood in RWBY was when we saw Mercury's backstory. or his slight backstory, because it really wasn't that much of a backstory. I want to see more of a personal backstory with Mercury and Emerald, but that's just my personal opinion, because I really want to see what they are up to and how they feel upon things, but that's besides the point right now. But when it comes to the backstory that we got with Mercury, Cinder, and Emerald in Volume 3, we saw that Mercury had blood all over his legs, and that's how, this dude has robotic legs now, so to speak. But the thing about seeing blood in Volume 4 is that now that we've seen it a second time, we can expect more of it. I mean, we're not going to see a gore fest or anything like that of that nature, no doubt, but we're still going to see blood nonetheless, at least from what it seems like, and honestly, I am all for that, because, just that little bit of matureness in the series just makes a series, in my personal opinion, a lot better. When it comes to dark shit, I like dark shit. I know I'm fucked up. You don't need to tell me that. But yes, we see the wounded soldier on the ground, and he eventually passes, but before he passes, he ends up telling to Ren that the town was decimated by bandits. Now, Ren says that they were Grimm. So, does this mean that both of them actually were in the same place at the same given time? I mean, Grimm, from what we know, I don't really know could be tamed, but we do know that Winter has a summoning spell that can end up calling upon a Grimm that seems like it is domesticated. So what that could mean is that these bandits, whoever it was, it could be the, the White Fang or something like that. We don't know, but we do know that there are some bandits nonetheless that apparently have domesticated the Grimm, that are using the Grimm in order to ransack these towns. For what purpose did they get out of this? I'm not exactly sure, but it seems they were after something. But of course, this is all going off speculation. We don't really have any solid concrete evidence as to why they came to this town and what exactly they were after, and we probably won't get to, get evidence on that or clarification on that until the next episode comes out, or the next one after that. So definitely when it comes to this scene, that is something to keep an eye on as to, what exactly is going down, and I'm pretty sure we will figure out more as the series progresses. But when it came to that scene, when before we actually head into the town being completely devastated, we actually get one PYRRHA flashback of sorts, or just in like an ominous sort of, hindrance of PYRRHA's voice. She's like screaming out, "John! John!" And then that is when we revert to, them walking to the next town of SCHNEE. So with this ominous sort of look, and then obviously heading into the town being completely decimated, yeah, RWBY is definitely shifting the tone to a more darker route, because from what we saw with that PYRRHA flashback of sorts, that was a very ominous sort of outlook for the tone of the series. And then, after when that soldier dies at the town, we end up seeing John, saying to RWBY, "I'm just tired of losing everyone." RWBY's like, it'll be okay, John. How do you say that? How can RWBY say that to John? Someone just died again in front of him, and she's just like, "It'll be okay, John." I'm sorry, RWBY, but that does not help people, and that is when John says, "I'm just tired of losing everyone." I felt for the guy. I did. When it came to that scene alone, especially in the live reaction that I did, I was like, man, get me all depressed and shit. Now we revert back to another Weiss scene, and we see that Weiss eventually ends up coming into her father's office, and eventually stumbles across a little conversation that was going on between General Ironwood and her father. And basically the only thing that you need to get out of this conversation is that General Ironwood has set up a trade embargo of sorts through the cooperation of Weiss's father, and what he is trying to do is to halt the exportation of the SCHNEE Dust Company's dust to the other kingdoms. And the whole reason why he's doing this in the first place is to, again, halt the dust going out to other kingdoms, because as the way things are in the world of Remnant right now, things are not really that good. And if Dust ends up getting into the wrong hands in any of the given kingdoms, eventually this Dust, if it gets into the wrong hands, could end up springing a war. And General Ironwood wants to prevent that as much as he possibly can. And because of the fact that General Ironwood is halting this exportation of dust goods to other kingdoms, this is costing WEISS'S father a shit ton of money. And he is saying that, you know, if I'm losing a lot of money from this, there is no gain out of it for me. So obviously he doesn't like this. So things are not really looking good when it comes to General Ironwood and WEISS'S father's relationship. I mean, the two are, you know, very, very close friends. Even we have Ironwood calling Papa SCHNEE by his first name, you know. But when it comes to the way how things are going for WEISS'S father, he is definitely being pressured by not only James, but also by the other kingdoms, because, you know, some people need dust in the world of Remnant for resources. But again, if, you know, these, you know, dust are eventually brought into the wrong hands, we could end up seeing a war break out. So definitely when it comes to this little scene right here that we saw in this episode, this is actually something big that can play out bigger as the series progresses. Now, another thing that I wanted to point out really quick is that when it comes to Papa SCHNEE, as we know him, we probably can see why Weiss doesn't really like, you know, her father all that much, and that is most likely the reason as to Papa SCHNEE is kind of a jerk, honestly, especially when it comes to his possible views on women. I'm just throwing that out there. We don't really know much about Papa SCHNEE, but he doesn't really seem to acknowledge women that much, especially when it comes to his own daughters. Because the whole reason why I say this is because while we see a family photo in, like, the outer home of WEISS'S mansion, in Papa SCHNEE's studies, his office room, we only see one picture on his desk, and that is a picture of Whitlian, WEISS'S brother. So, how could a father only have one picture of one of his offspring on his desk when he has three? He has Winter and he has Weiss. I don't really know. We don't really know much about, you know, Papa SCHNEE, but we do know that he is a jerk, and it seems that he does not acknowledge his offspring too well, only when it comes to his son. When it comes to his daughters, he's not apparently that big of a fan of, and it kind of seems like he just uses them as tools. So when it comes to Papa SCHNEE, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this character so far, but hopefully we get more clarification on his character as the series progresses. And then finally, we revert back to another PYRRHA flashback, or whatever you want to call these things. You know, just an ominous tone with PYRRHA's voice. And this is the second one that we got out of this episode. So again, we are getting a more foreboding sort of outlook on when it comes to this episode, and also, you know, what the series will eventually become as the series goes on, hopefully. And we see that RWBY ends up waking up. You know, Ren, Nora, John, and RWBY are at a little campsite, you know, getting some shut-eye. But John isn't at his bed. And we see that RWBY ends up going on a little adventure to see where John is at. He is not too far away, but we see that John is actually training. And who is he training with? He's actually training with PYRRHA, or the only memory that John has of PYRRHA, so to speak. Well, I mean, John has a lot of memories of PYRRHA, obviously, but the only visual representation of what he could see PYRRHA in, and that is on his scroll. And ironically enough, it happens to be PYRRHA, you know, talking about or giving advice to John on his training, his stances, and how he can better himself in combat. And I just thought that was a really beautiful scene, especially when you have Ruby, you know, checking in on John, and she's feeling sad as well, because we know that she misses PYRRHA as well. But more importantly, she's seeing, you know, that John has always been this character that is the underdog, you know, as we know him. You know, he's really not the biggest wow sort of character that we've seen in the series of RWBY. But the thing about John is that he has probably the most spirit of the group, and honestly the most leadership. I mean, he is a strategist after all, a clumsy strategist at that, but he is a strategist nonetheless. And, you know, from out the whole series of RWBY, it's just him been all about, you know, trying to better himself as a person, and who taught him how to better himself as not only a person, but as a warrior? PYRRHA, right? And just seeing that scene right there, it was pretty emotional. When I did my live reaction, I was like, shit, man. Oh, man. Yeah, just thinking about it now, just thinking about it. Yeah, but that's what we see. The only visual representation that John has left of PYRRHA is that little video that he took of, you know, her giving him advice. And we see that he's just non-stop training. You know, while everyone's sleeping, he's the one that's out training, you know, trying to be better not only for himself, but for others as well. And that is why I love John. John is getting awesome development, and I hope this continues, and I hope we actually see his semblance appear in the coming episodes of RWBY Volume 4. Hopefully we'll get to that. Maybe that's asking for a little bit too much, but just keep up with the development of John's character, Rooster Teeth, because I am loving it. But yeah, guys, I think that about does it for this review. Hopefully it wasn't too long, but hopefully this was a good analysis of the episode and what we can expect for, you know, the future episodes of RWBY Volume 4 as they come out. Let me know what you guys thought about this video in the comments down below, and also what did you think about the episode as well. And if you happen to like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up because it always helps out the channel. And if you want to see more RWBY content from me, or anime and manga related content, then hit that red subscribe button down below and you will never miss a video from me. That about does it for this video, guys. I really